Let's talk about something that surprised me in the best way possible. It's a pair of tiny studio monitors that I honestly didn't expect to like as much as I do. The iLoud Micro Monitor Pro speakers from IK Multimedia. These things are small enough to fit in a backpack, and I mean that literally. If you saw my recent video about my travel studio, I showed how everything I need to record, including those speakers, fits in a single backpack. But don't let the size fool you, these speakers are no joke. Now, out of the box, you get a pair of powered monitors, a power supply for each speaker, and a calibration microphone. More on that in just a minute. The build is plastic but solid, typical of mini speakers meant for pro audio. The look is clean and simple. They don't scream budget, and they don't take up much space on your desk. Now let's just break down the specs of these things and some of the numbers. The iLoud Micro Monitor Pro speakers are 50 watts of total power. That's 30 watts from the low end and 20 watts for the highs. A 3-inch woofer and a 1-inch dome tweeter. The frequency response is from 55 Hz on the low end up to 20 kilohertz. Maximum SPL of 104 dBs at 1 meter. It's about 180 millimeters tall, 135 millimeters deep, and 90 millimeters wide. They weigh in just under about 4 pounds per speaker. For something this small, it's honestly kind of wild how much clean volume and bass response you get. I can confidently say the best speakers I've used in a home studio environment were my Atom A7X monitors. In fact, if you're over on my YouTube channel, you can go back and watch many of the old videos, some of the oldest videos on my channel. You'll see I had that set up in our old house. The Atom speakers were great, but I needed something that was more portable. I've had my share of bad speakers as well over the years. In many months, I just relied on using headphones. But with these, I get a great sound and the convenience of the grab and go all in one. Now, the back of each speakers, you're going to find several different knobs and settings. There's a volume knob that zeroes out pretty easily. Then you have EQ for highs and lows. You have like a desk compensation switch, which is pretty awesome. And then you have a mode that you can put in for calibrating your monitors with the microphone that was included. You get an RCA jack for 1/8 inch unbalanced and then a balanced XLR. It has a USB-C port that's for firmware updates and software control. In short, IK gave you real control over how these monitors behave in your space, which brings me to the coolest part. Now, included in the box when you buy these speakers as a pair is a calibration mic that's actually pretty useful. You can take that calibration mic and plug it into each of the speakers, and it's able to run a calibration process right then and there. It only takes just a few minutes to run this calibration, and then you've got your exact imprint of the space that you're in saved onto those speakers. Now, like I mentioned before, if you don't have time to run any of this test and you have your speakers sitting on a desk, you can simply switch it to the desk mode and it will compensate for those reflections that you commonly get from studio desks. The portability factor of these speakers can't be overstated. These monitors are compact, lightweight, and come with threaded inserts if you want to mount them on mic stands. I've taken them to the office, and as you've probably seen, in my backpack, wherever. And because they don't rely on external software or an interface, they're just plug and play with just about anything. So who are these speakers for anyway? Well, first I would say bedroom producers or home studio owners with a limited space. Content creators or podcasters who want an accurate monitoring situation, mobile musicians who need great sound on the go, and then mix engineers. Literally, if you're looking for a second reference monitor, they're not a gimmick and they're not a toy. These are real monitors that happen to be very small. Like I mentioned before, previously here on YouTube, I put out a video where I took the Arc Studio, which is also made by IK Multimedia, and used the calibration mic to analyze and correct the sanctuary at my church. I was very pleased with the results, and we're still using that Arc Studio system today. Now, the mic that comes with that Arc Studio is the same one that comes with the iLoud speakers. Even though the process is slightly more involved with the Arc Studio, you have the same minds giving you the calibration for the speakers. So if you haven't seen my video on the Arc Studio, here's just a short clip where I discuss the calibration process. You can see it is certainly healthy there. Now, this next section here, you have an option to set up what kind of studio are you mixing for, what type of analysis are you doing. The largest environment that they have available is the movie studio / home theater. Obviously, this is not a movie studio home theater, but we're acting like it is. Maybe in the future, IK Multimedia will add in auditorium or sanctuary. I'm sure this will be a decent result no matter what. So this is the largest option they have. I'm going to go with movie studio. If you want to, I'd probably maybe go with the project studio. That's going to be most of you that are just sitting at a table. Use the diagrams to kind of find which one will suit your needs best. It's going to be a lot of moving. I think this one has 21 different positions that we're going to be testing. We have our drop-down menu or the measurement. I'm going to change it from neutral to church sanctuary. Wowzers. Obviously, our subwoofer is pretty loud. It's got the before, which is a ton of low end. Like I said, I've used a lot of monitors over the years, from basic entry-level pairs to pro-grade setups. And while these don't replace a full-size monitoring setup, I'll say this. The iLoud Micro Monitor Pros outperform their size by a mile. They're compact, accurate, and surprisingly powerful. If you're short on space or just want a pair of monitors you can trust while traveling, these are definitely the ones you should be looking at. The purpose of this channel is to inform and educate musicians of all walks of life in the basics of recording, mixing, and releasing your own music. If you're looking to expand your horizons and enjoy the content you've seen so far, hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and share the show with your friends. Take a look across my YouTube channel for more content just like this.